Hello. Let me just do something with this. Okay, hopefully that doesn't fall off. Right. Let's do something. Okay. This should hopefully work. I'm doing the hello part, and my name's Carr. Basically, I'm a photographer. I do landscapes, cityscapes, architecture, portraits, industry standard photography. I'm also a blogger. I do a weblog called Vanilla Days, which is one of the sort of top photo blogs in the country. It didn't technically win. It was a finalist in the recent Photo Blog Awards, and it's actually quite a popular site. And I've been doing that for about 6 years, and I've been blogging for about 10 years, off and on. If anyone was here last time when Stuart talked about blogging and things, he mentioned that it was just me and Art in Liverpool and Tim in the early days about blogging in Liverpool. And I'm also a bit of a geek, and I'm on Twitter at PeteMC. So first I'm going to talk about myself, which kind of is an introduction into what sort of leads into the project. And I've gone purple because that's trendy. So I might occasionally go purple a bit more. I guess the computer's as nervous as I am. Right, okay. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, so basically, people scare me. So my talk isn't going to be amazing because you're currently all terrifying me, as you can see. And yeah, people basically, they're a bit scary. Even though I do portraiture and street photography and things, it's tricky because I'm quite scared of people. But that's because people are actually very scary. As you can see, you're out and about and you're trying to take someone's photo and this kind of thing happens. But yeah, people are basically scary, and that's why I'm scared of them. Which kind of leads me on to the internet and how I became a blogger and things like that. Basically, the internet lets, as I'm sure you know, being a social media cafe, the internet lets people chat without the social boundaries and the kind of normal problems that I'm having right now. If this was the internet, it'd be fine. I could just sit there and chat in some IRC channel or something without any issues. So things like chat rooms and forums and Twitter, it lets people get along to some degree and just chat without issue and socialize and talk to people. And that brings me on to the actual socializing thing. I just find it kind of interesting how we do socialize as a species, and how in the online there's no kind of, you don't have these boundaries. You can just chat to anybody, you can say anything. Whereas in the real world, just because there's a physical person in front of you, it's a lot harder to say things that you might want to say. Which I guess is why a lot of fights break out online, because it's so easy just to say what's on your mind without the consequences of being hit or something. And things like online gaming, people think that gaming is a sort of solitary activity you do alone in your bedroom, but you could be playing a game involving 30-odd people. So it's socializing, but it's not socializing. It's all quite strange when you kind of think about it all. And basically, I'm a shy person, and I do find it easier to chat online, play online games. I was never really good at football, but I was a lot better at computer games because I guess it's just easier. I find it easier to tweet than meet. It's just so much easier to do that, to sit at home or sit anywhere. Actually, you could just be sitting in a cafe or something, chatting to everyone in the cafe through Twitter, and that would be a lot easier for me to some degree. But as a photographer, I'm actually a less shy person, which is a weird thing. As a photographer, I can't really afford to be scared of things. You know, if a client says, go up a tall building and stand on top of it and take a photo of something, that's what I have to do, and I'm scared of heights, so it's a bit odd. If a client says, go out into the street and take portraits of people, then that's what I do. It's kind of weird. You give me a camera, and off I go. You know, I've got to capture the moment, basically, because I don't like to regret things. So with a camera, I just go out, take the shot, and it's done. So things like this, for example, that was me hanging out of a helicopter with the door open and a cameraman in the way, so I had to lean over the cameraman, and I'm scared of heights. So it was kind of a bit scary, but because I was doing everything through a camera, there's that sort of safety element to it anyway. I was only viewing things through that sort of small box. So it's quite easier to do the job. So yeah, photography just gives me that kind of thing. It just takes away the fear in a way. Yeah, so moving on to strangers, and as I was saying, being a photographer, it gives me a reason to chat to people. If I'm out on the street and I see an interesting looking person, well, that's it. But if I'm a photographer, if I'm out on the street and see an interesting looking person, I can go up and I can ask for their picture. And I'm just not wanting to miss those moments. You know, someone will walk past and something might happen and I'll take the picture, because if I don't, the moment passes, I can never go back in time and take that picture. So photography gives me this great ability. Which leads me on to a project that I started. Over the years I've done projects, one called 800, which was for Liverpool's 800th birthday, and that project involved, it was one day, 8 photographers, 800 portraits on Liverpool's 800th birthday. 8 of us basically went out all around the city, not just the city centre, it was all around Liverpool, and we just asked people for portraits. Because we had basically 8 hours to do it in, we had that one day, there was a lot of pressure, so you couldn't be scared of anything, you just had to go out and get the pictures. And in 2009 I did a similar project called Fab Faces, without as much pressure. It's just basically go out, take portraits. And because of those, I found out that this other project called 100 Strangers. And the point of that is to photograph, as it sounds, 100 strangers. But the difference of this project to the other projects is that the emphasis is more on interesting people. So it's not just seeing someone on the street and taking a photo and running away and hiding. You've got to chat to them and get their story and sort of try and get these interesting stories. So the picture's got to be good, but then there's also got to be this element of stories. And I started doing this last year. And as I say, there was the emphasis on real stories about real people. For example, this is a woman I met in New Brighton at the Remembrance Sunday event. And she was there to pay her respects to people that she had lost during World War II. And it was just a really interesting woman to chat to, and just took her portrait. This is a girl that I met on St. Patrick's Day. It's not often you see someone sort of busking with a harp, so I just had to stop and have a chat with her about what she was up to. And essentially, she was going between gigs and had time to kill, so she stopped on St. Patrick's Day and played the harp for a bit. And this is a woman I met at the bombed out church, and she was openly breastfeeding in public, and at first I kind of thought she's not going to want her photo taken, and she'll probably think I'm a bit weird, but we got chatting and she was perfectly happy for me to take a photo. And she basically said that she'd be more ashamed to give her baby a bottle than to actually breastfeed in public. She felt it was such a strong connection. So basically, people are scary. They really quite scare me. but they're also very, very interesting. You can go out and take photos of landscapes, and generally a landscape won't change over 100 years. But people can change from day to day or hour to hour. As a photographer, it's a great thing. So I wanted to share this with people in an engaging way. So skipping to the end, basically having a camera gave me a reason to talk to strangers. I wanted to pass that on to others, and I thought it'd be interesting to break out the traditional photography exhibition format instead of just pictures on a wall sort of thing. Do you guys want to sit down? Okay. Could be here hours. Right. So yeah, it leads me on to the actual point of why I'm here tonight, which is called Res. What is it? Essentially, it's using social media to interact with photography. It lets people encounter each photo in the location where it's taken. So instead of just going to a gallery and seeing nice photos of people with their story, the point of this project is to get people out and right to the place where it was taken, instead of just going to New York and seeing some photos of people taken in France or something. Why? Well, mobile phones and computers and things, they connect people online, but can these devices do it in the real world? Can use the technology that we've all got that makes us chat online and everything, can we use that in a different way to sort of connect people in the real world instead? We've got brilliant phones and devices that allow us to do all these crazy things, like everyone chatting on Twitter and everything, and everyone here could, well, actually some people do seem to be chatting on Twitter right now, and it's a great thing, but in some ways all you're doing is you're sitting in a room with loads of people, going outside that room onto the internet to then chat to them. It's a bit odd in some ways. So hopefully this project is going to show that you can use modern technology to connect with people in reality instead of just connecting with them online. Because the internet is a very valid way of connecting with people in the real world. It's not just a way for us to all follow everybody and like things on Facebook and everything. Maybe I still haven't made the point clear. Essentially, the ultimate aim of the project really is to provoke discussion on the way that we interact as a species. I'm not kind of setting out to pose a question to the world and then answer the question. I'm basically just saying, okay, well, we've got all this technology, what can we do with it, and how can we use it, and can we use it in different ways? So this project's going to take people right onto the streets and interact with the subjects of their photographs instead of just putting them in a gallery in an empty white room. It's about connecting the real world to the virtual and blurring the lines between them. So, Res. Why did I call it Res? Well, as I mentioned, I'm a bit of a geek. Res is essentially the process of transferring your real self into the digital world, and it's from Tron. So if anyone knows Tron, they'll probably have a bit of an understanding. And as I said, I'm a bit of a geek. So what I plan to do is go up to people and ask them to take their photo. I think. No, I'm not asking them to take their photo, that's wrong. I'm going to take their photo. And then I'm going to put it online with Twitter and a few other social media sites so people can say hi. So essentially Twitter will interact with these people. Then I'm going to GPS tag it as well, so people in the real world can then actually interact with these people. I'm going to be using an iPhone. Goala is going to do all the GPS location stuff. There's an app called Layer that I'm using, which is a little buggy, but hopefully it's going to do the job that I want. And I'm going to use Twitter, and I'm going to use Tumblr, all these social networking things, or to hopefully build an end product in some ways. Right, so the iPhone. It's all going to be done with an iPhone. I'm going to take the photo, process the photo, do everything just through the iPhone. It just makes the point that you don't need a stupidly large camera and loads of fancy technology. You just need a simple everyday phone. I'm going to use Goala. If you're not familiar with Goala, it's like Foursquare. It's the whole checking into places for no apparent reason, just saying, look, I'm here in a coffee shop, aren't I cool? So I'm going to use Goala to create hotspots around the city. I'll check in with that hotspot and then leave some information about that person there. I'll leave a photo and perhaps their name and what they were up to. And eventually then I'll build a trip with Goala. So using that app, you'll be able to walk around the city, essentially like a pub crawl without the pubs and without the crawling, and just wander around and meet these people. And the beauty is it also allows others to engage with the project because they can leave comments or even take photos and leave them in the same places. Comments, photos. The really cool part, hopefully, is something called Layer, which is an augmented reality browser. With this, you can see the Goala hotspots, and essentially, if you don't know what augmented reality is, it's you hold your iPhone up, uses the camera, and then on the display it overlays information onto the actual display. So if I hold the phone up, and then on the display you'll actually see like all the Goala hotspots, and you can kind of move around, and it will say like there's a coffee shop over there, you move around that way and it says there's a pub over there, and it's really cool. The idea being with this project is that you'll go onto the street using Layer, you'll hold up the phone and you'll actually see this person in the virtual world, but it's also the real world, so it kind of completely blurs the lines between the two worlds, sort of using this magical device in a way to see into the internet, but then you're actually seeing back onto the real world, so it's all crazy magic. I'm going to be using hashtags on Twitter. The tag is #RESD, and essentially that's just to build discussion, because the project's launching tonight, hopefully, if I've got time. And I'm going to ultimately end up with hopefully an exhibition when Look 11, the photography festival, when that opens in May 13th, I think it is. So over the next few weeks I'm going to be taking people's photos and building this exhibition, but also building discussion around it, hopefully. And I'll be using Tumblr, which is going to be the website for it. That will import all the Goala check-ins, so you can go onto the website and you can see the latest place that I've been and the latest person I've photographed. Hopefully it'll import the Twitter hashtag, so you can actually see the discussion that's going on. And it's also got its own hashtag support, so you can sort of click on a button and then see if anyone else on Tumblr is talking about the project. So this is sort of like, if you don't really want to be sort of a Goala kind of check-in person, you can just follow the project on its own. You don't need to have these things, although obviously it's great to have them. So if I've got time, I'd like to do a demo and actually start the project. So do I have time? Yeah. Cool, okay. I was kind of hoping you'd say no. Right, so I'm going to need a volunteer, and it's someone I don't know. I probably should have set this up with someone. It doesn't hurt. It's very easy. Okay, cool. Yep. So you have to come on down and stuff. Right. So hopefully this works. I've never actually tried it on anyone yet. Okay. So I'm going to need my camera first. And actually it might be all right if you just sit in this seat, because it'll be nicely lit then. Right. So let's say iPhone, camera thingy, and then I'll just try and take your photo in hopefully a good way. Yeah. Now we have to wait a few minutes because it processes the photo and everything. So what's your name? Simon. Hello, I'm Pete. It'd be silly to ask you what you're doing here tonight. Right, let's hope this is done quickly. I probably should have bought some music for an interlude. Right. Hey, cool. That actually works. Okay, so there's the picture. Right. So now what I do is go to the Koala app, and actually I just have to turn the Wi-Fi on, so this might take a bit longer. I really hope this bit works, because it'll be... I'll just give it a few seconds, see if it fetches the picture, and if it does, it'll be cool. If it doesn't, yeah, I'll just... Right, okay. It's just fetching the information now, so hopefully it'll be alright. It's just taking a long time to fetch it. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, well, I've got one last slide, which is hugely interesting. Yeah, you can go. Yeah, the end. Yeah. It might work later on.
All right, we just thought we'd see if anyone wanted to ask Pete some questions. I'll start if no one else does. Just as a matter of curiosity, you say You're going to go around the city and find interesting people.
Yeah.
How did you define an interesting person?
Someone that catches my eye, basically. Obviously that's dependent on my eye, essentially. It's just people that are interesting. You know, they might be wearing cool clothes. I've met some rock people, sort of heavy metal kind of people from, I think it was Poland, or Italy it was, yeah. Met them once. So yeah, just people that catch you out on the street, you know, just that really. Get chatting to them, and hopefully they'll agree to be part of it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, is it on? Hey. Oh, sorry, was there somebody
There's someone over there, yeah.
Okay, they can wait. Although we haven't been able to get the technology to work, is it so with Leia, whatever it's called?
Yeah.
That I've taken off my phone. So you'll be holding your phone up, and it will superimpose the image over the actual place where the image was taken.
Yeah. Annoyingly, it's got absolutely no points of interest at all. So I can't even show you some other bit. You know, essentially, I can just show you there's a camera on an iPhone. It is meant to come up with some person floating around in the virtual world. No, it's just...
But as yet, not.
No.
So how many images is it that you're going to take for the project?
I'm just going to take... Well, I'll probably take a few for my own use and sort of... You know, but I'll be only uploading one picture, which will be the same one that's going to be on the different apps and hopefully exhibited.
Okay, brilliant. And you'll be able to, so you're plotting it on Tumblr and we'll be able to follow the route?
Yeah. So if you don't have an iPhone or any phone like that, and you just want to be interested in the project, you can just go onto Tumblr and see what people are doing with it and see what I'm doing with it. Just hopefully it'll build over the next few weeks.
Brilliant.
Was there another question?
Sorry?
What's your layer called?
Oh, good point. I'd forgotten about that. It's called Moby Picture. M-O-B-Y Picture, yeah.
One more question from anyone? No? Oh.
Ooh. Sorry? Well, yeah, Koala is exactly like Foursquare. I don't know which came first, Koala or Foursquare. I think it came out about similar times. They sort of both exploded about this time last year at South by Southwest in America, because loads of people were checking in. But then Foursquare just gained so much more momentum. It's got millions of users now, or hundreds of thousands, whereas Koala just doesn't have the support. But Koala's more of a fun app in a way. Using Foursquare is a bit like, I've checked in here, and that's it. But Koala, you can drop things in places, and you can kind of, you can drop off a cup of coffee, or randomly, I've got a beatnik poet that I picked up in Brighton, I think. So I picked him up down south, and I brought him up to Liverpool, so I can drop him anywhere in Liverpool. Someone else can then find the beatnik poet, pick him up, and take him somewhere else. So yeah, they are basically the same concept, but done in two different ways. But I'm not using it for that purpose, really. I'm using it for, hopefully, to sort of say, you can use these technologies in completely different ways. Because a lot of people just say, what's the point in Foursquare? You're just checking in, you're just saying, I'm at a train station. Hopefully, this project will show that you can use these kind of social location apps to do other things, hopefully.
Brilliant. Pete Carr, thank you very much indeed.
Okay. Thanks.
Cheers.